Hey everyone, it's Kevin, and in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can create healthy eating habits. If you want to control what you eat and control your body, then hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. And don't forget to check out my free 7-day challenge, Stop Overeating in 7 days. It's sure is free, and if you click the link below in the description box, you can get started today. I'm making this in the last week of 2019, and a lot of you have New Year's resolutions to eat healthy, eat right, fix your habits. And if you haven't already, check out my previous video on why your New Year's resolutions will fail, and you can check that out if you click above. Now, establishing new eating habits is a really good thing. It's probably something we should all do. We can all improve on this, especially after the holidays, after the 6-week binge that caps every year in the United States, beginning with Thanksgiving and then ending with Christmas. So if you're watching this, you probably have a few extra pounds to lose, or you have some bad eating habits that you want to break, and you want to create some new ones. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. The first step is to start with the why. Why do you need to create new eating habits? We don't create new habits just for fun. Remember, creating new habits is kind of hard. It's kind of difficult because our brain is lazy and it creates all sorts of reasons why we shouldn't do it. So you need to have a good reason to counter the reasons not to change. So is your reason to look better? Is it to be healthier? Is it because your blood sugar is too high? Is it because your HDL cholesterol is too low? Did your physician give you a bad blood report? What's the reason here? Is it for health? Is it for aesthetics? Or maybe it's for both. But my point is, it needs to be a really powerful reason, because your brain is going to trick you. It's going to convince you that your resolution isn't worth it, that your new eating habits aren't worth it. There are going to be obstacles on the way, and you shouldn't expect smooth sailing all the way to your new goals. Be really honest with the reason why you want to create these new eating habits. Don't deceive yourself. A lot of reasons to create new habits aren't very good, and you just need to have a really compelling reason to motivate you through the bad times. The second thing is establish the habits you want to create and establish the habits that you want to get rid of. Maybe just make a list. Just say, what are the habits that are holding you back, that are between you and the health that you want, between you and the body that you want? What specifically are those habits? Is it eating too much at night? Is it mindless eating? Is it going out too much? Is it ordering Grubhub or DoorDash or whatever? Is it that you're not cooking enough? Is it that you're skipping breakfast? And then think, what are the habits that you want to create? Do you want to do intermittent fasting every day? Do you want to fast 1 day a week? Also consider the foods that you want to eat. What are the foods that you're eating now? Is it too much processed food, and then you want to eat more oats and more berries and more bananas and more salad and more salmon or whatever? What are the foods that you're eating now? What are the foods that you want to eat? What are the habits that you're following now? And what are the habits that you want to create? You want to contrast your ideal between where you are now, and you want to start moving towards that ideal. My third tip for you is to give yourself time. We like to think that everything is going to change on January 1st, but that's not the way it works. We don't just create a new habit because we want to, and it doesn't happen in one day, unless you have a really, really strong reason to do that. Usually it takes 30 to 60 days to create a new habit. In fact, there was that study in New Mexico that said on average it takes 66 days to create a new habit. Now, I'm not saying it should take 66 days. I think you can speed that up, but let's just count on that. And if you get the process started on January 1st, it's probably not going to be a habit until sometime in March on average. That's why I like to say that you should start your New Year's resolutions back in November, because by the time you get to January, those habits will be automatic. The problem is we have all of these holiday parties in the last 5 or 6 weeks of the year that make it really hard to establish those new habits. But that's exactly why you should do it, because you should try to create new habits when it's hard, not when it's easy. Because if you do it while it's hard, then you know you can do it the rest of the year. You shouldn't expect perfection on January 1st. What you should expect is to get the process started. And that's what you need to do. Get the process started on January 1st, and then by March, those habits will be automatic. Now here's my next tip for you. Make your new habits a priority. It's really easy to set them aside, and it's really easy to give up the first time you fail and say, this isn't going to work. These new habits aren't worth it. I'm just going to wait until February or March to get started, or I'm going to get through birthday season to get started. You shouldn't do that. You should make it a priority from day one, because here's the truth. You're going to have a lot of obstacles. It's not always going to be easy to follow those habits. There's always going to be some reason why you shouldn't create the new habit. Remember, your brain is really tricky. It likes to set landmines on your path. Boom, boom, boom. And it's always trying to derail you from your goal. You just need to keep that in mind. That's why you shouldn't expect perfection on January 1st, because we don't do that. We don't go from drinking and eating and partying on December 31st, which is what a lot of people like to do, and then we go to a perfect creature on January 1st. If you recognize that you're not going to be perfect from day one, and you recognize that there are going to be obstacles on the way, you're much more likely to reach your goal. You need to normalize challenges and normalize obstacles. You also need to be willing to accept trade-offs. I mentioned that you need to make a list of the foods that you want to eat consistently, but what happens when you're at an airport? What happens when you're in meetings all day? What happens when you're on the go all the time? You can pack salmon and quinoa in Tupperware, I suppose, or a plastic container, whatever. That's not always convenient. That's not always easy to do that. So you need to accept a trade-off once in a while. That's why I like to snack on stuff like nuts, maybe an energy bar. Sometimes you even have a bagel. Maybe you're going to be at a restaurant where they don't have very good options. You're just going to have to accept the best option for that circumstance. And that's okay, because we can't just sit in our kitchen and have a chef cook us gourmet meals all day. We're not professional athletes like that. We live in the real world. We're moving a lot. We're changing locations. Accept trade-offs. Just make the best choice that you can in the moment. Trust me, there's always a better choice than a jelly-filled donut. My next tip for you is to take an interest in nutrition. I noticed that a lot of people who are overweight, obese, don't tend to know a lot about nutrition. I have clients that have multiple medical conditions, and they still have processed carbs all over the counter. They have soda, and it boggles my mind that they don't know that that's actually killing them in a slow way. But we like to take nutrition knowledge for granted. But there was a time in my life, and there was a time in your life, where you didn't know much about nutrition. When I was in high school, I didn't know what carbs, protein, and fats were. Believe it or not, just that basic level of nutrition. It's not taught in schools. Most parents don't teach it, so you're going to have to pursue that knowledge on your own. But I think if you take an interest in nutrition, I'm not saying you should buy a textbook on physiology and nutrition, that you don't need to go that far, but you should at least know the basics. You can probably know the basics of nutrition in 1 or 2 days, and you can at least learn the vocabulary. It's really hard to eat right and be fit without having any interest or any knowledge of nutrition. It's actually essential knowledge in the modern world, and I can't believe they don't teach it in schools. They don't even teach it in college unless you take a $600 prerequisite. Fit and healthy people know something about health and fitness. They know something about nutrition. They're not experts on it, but they know what they need to know. Bodybuilders know a lot of muscles, and they know a lot of bones, and therefore they have really fantastic bodies, really fantastic physiques. But it's not like they got that way because they didn't know anything about nutrition and they didn't know anything about the body. You need to have basic competency in what you want. My next tip is to be conscious of what you're doing. And at first, you're going to have to be super conscious of what you're doing. How many of you watch TV or watch YouTube videos like this, or you watch some form of entertainment while you're snacking on something? This is what's known as mindless eating. You really want to avoid this kind of mindless eating because it's really easy to exceed your caloric limit for the day. And you're not even noticing, you're not even tasting the food. It's mindless. Or maybe you're checking email at work, or you have that little bowl of chocolates next to your computer. There's so many areas where you can improve, but you need to be conscious of what you're doing. You need to know what you're eating and why you're eating it. Really connect with your hunger. Why are you eating it? Are you really hungry? Are you just doing it out of habit? Is it because it's time? Is it because everyone else is eating? There are so many cues and stimuli in the modern environment that make us eat more than what we should. Really connect with your hunger. Ask yourself if you need seconds. Can you get away with one cookie, or do you need that second one? Do you really need dessert, or are your eyes bigger than your stomach? When you're trying to create new eating habits, when you're trying to lose weight, when you're trying to improve your health, you don't have a tremendous amount of leeway. Just keep that in mind. Once you reach your goal, you can let off a little bit, and I mean a little bit, not a lot, but you still need to be conscious of what you're doing. A big reason why you don't have the body, the health that you want, or you don't have the eating habits that you want, is because you just haven't been paying attention. Once you start paying attention, once you start tracking things, you're going to notice changes. My last tip for you is to get a coach and get some accountability. Now, where do you find a coach? Well, you're listening to one right now. Nothing could be better than having somebody motivate you and somebody to keep you accountable and somebody to guide you in the process. That's why I've just created the Empowered Eating System, and you can find it at the link in the description box below, and you can also see it on the screen right now. The Empowered Eating System allows you to make healthy choices anywhere, anytime. No restriction, no gimmicks, no fads. You can eat what you want, but just less than you want. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Book your strategy call today. There is a link in the description box, and there is a link on the website. Which new eating habits are you going to create in 2020? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos on eating right and living a healthy life. And I'll see you in the next video.